or hello again. Alright, I want to talk about 2018's White Boy Rick. Now, a lot of people would have seen this film. Had a small cinema release, and I know it's clawing its way into people's consciousness at home. And I think the film is going to continually grow to become an absolute American classic. And I'm going to discuss why. Alright, it's solidly directed by Jan de McGure or de McGrange. Forgive the pronunciation. And the reason the film can kind of get overlooked is that like it operates in two worlds. I mean, you've got this poor Midwestern family populated by Mcconaughey and white boy Rick, played by Richie Merritt, who's quietly brilliant. The kind of intelligence and naivete that you need to kind of communicate of a teenager like that. I mean, his impulses are a teenager, but he's got the mind of a man, and he communicates that brilliantly. And you kind of miss it upon the first viewing. He feels a little flat, but he's not. You can see him thinking and watching. He needs to stand up and shout and act on his impulses when he has to. And the film can feel a little distracted. I mean, it operates in that world and it operates in that 80s hip hop world, which is absolutely delicious. This is kind of pre gangster rap, even though you've got a lot of African American gangsters, and the music and the culture and the suits. The gangsters are wearing suits in clubs where they probably be wearing tracksuits, FUBU tracksuits or something now, and the music and the skating and all that kind of thing and the hip hop grooves. A lot of them that were later repurposed for Biggie and stuff are absolutely fantastic. But I think what the film is about really is, it's about the American dream and doing it the right way. There's a brilliant line where White Boy Rick says to his sister, Dawn Wersher, played brilliantly by Belle Powley, who has these big oval eyes that you can kind of seem to get lost in. They look a little bit too big for her face, and she offers up the cluelessness of a drug addict really well. Matthew McConaughey, of course, turns on the drug addiction pretty heavy at the start, and that's to be expected. He's sweating, his eyes are bulging. But there's something very wholesome about him. The film's politics kind of skirt all across America. On the one hand, they mention that African Americans are more easily and more harshly incarcerated. But on the other hand, they're all for the Second Amendment and gun laws. So the film understands that it's in America and there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And while Matthew McConaughey wants to do it the right way, his son does it the wrong way. And there's a weird confluence of energies running through the film, all told in a crime drama, which in a sense is kind of the undermining of the American dream. Capitalism at all costs. It's an allegory for greed. The other aspect as well is like Matthew McConaughey doesn't get enough screen time, almost doesn't get enough screen time to be a best supporting actor, because it's populated by so many other good characters that are played so richly, so vividly, and so specifically. Of course, Jennifer Jason Leigh shows up as the kind of maternal police officer who absolutely shafts White Boy Rick, and there's a real harshness to her. I mean, there's always been a harshness to her, but I think it's just the circumstances and the callousness of which and how the character handles White Boy Rick, which makes her performance stand out so much. And then if you move further on, Jonathan Majors, who's now a big, huge star, got himself in some trouble, is absolutely magnetic as one of the gangsters, and he doesn't get enough screen time, and that can be missed. Of course, you've got Bruce Dern looming in the background, who's absolutely perfect as that kind of Midwestern hillbilly grandfather. And there's no real need for them to be there other than the fact, like if you're writing this, you dispense with a lot of that and you just focus on the father and son aspect. But like they're all there trying to make sense of the world, all trying to do the same thing, and it's working out for someone who it's working out for not. Brian Tyree Henry, who's absolutely brilliant, he's quietly brilliant in what's the TV series, but he's good in this, very forthright, focused, and professional as one of the police officers. I really enjoy him when he's on screen time all the time. Atlanta is the TV show I was thinking about. The cinematography is absolutely fantastic in it. Whatever they done, they seem to manage to make a play that's downtrodden, which is basically Detroit. They kind of found well, first and foremost, they photographed it beautifully so Detroit wouldn't look decrepit. So as a matter of fact, you wouldn't say to yourself, I don't want to live there. It's a funny thing about cinematography, because when I watch it, as a dub, I'm always enamored by the large gardens and the architecture of the houses. Like, I want to live in broken down Detroit in the 80s. That's what the film does to me, and that's kind of fine. What it does is it allows you to look past the actual poverty and empathise with the humanity of the characters. Um, of course, there's neon green and purple and yellow lights all throughout the club scene. The apartments are kind of tinted with green glows in the background. Um, it's a big production, and that makes the whole thing accessible, I think, and allows you to kind of look past the kind of criminal element to it. Even Matthew McConaughey has another good line. It's a hard thing, this, trying to keep a family together. Uh, it's just brilliant, and the thing can go over your head because by the time that line comes up, we're well into the third act, and the drama is ratcheted up. And it's one of those films you'd put on for a second time on a lazy early Sunday. And I think after, we're coming up on 5 years now, people will write about it, but come 10 years' time, I think it's going to be up there with one of McConaughey's best. Or at least the best films he's in. Maybe not his best performances because he hasn't got as much screen time as, say, obviously something like True Detective. But if you haven't seen it, like, check it out. It's very, very accessible. There's lots to look at, lots to look past and to enjoy. I think that's the great thing about films, that they take you into people's lives that you ordinarily wouldn't like, and convinces you to like them. There's not that much difference between all of us.